Hey, what is up, everybody? It's your girl, Sarah. So, just wanted to pop in to do a little something something today. First and foremost, I wanted to welcome anyone who's watching either live or you'll catch the recording later. And I wanted to say hello. This is going to be an interactive, informal session. It's a family show. Y'all might know I have a little 7-month old daughter. And right before this, she wasn't very happy, but now she's happy. She's chilling with grandma. She's looking over at me. So you might hear her make a cameo or something in the background. But yeah, everything is everything. So it's so great to see you all here. Thank you for joining us for Self Publishing 101. So this is going to be kind of just an informational session just to get your feet wet when it comes to self publishing. I'm going to share a couple of tips and tricks. I'm not going to dive too deep. What I really want is to leave some time at the end for questions and answers because I want to make sure to get those in. If they're simple questions, I'll definitely address them here. If they're more in depth, then I might have to get back to you on that. So just make sure to leave your name as a comment, and we'll definitely get that on and popping. All right. So just drop your questions, comments as they come to you. All right. So without any further ado, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, quick announcement. I posted it already on my own Facebook page. We'll have a more official announcement coming out, but I'm super excited because we have partnered with Tech to be their national professional learning partner. So super excited. Huge shout out to our friends over at Tech, and thank you all so much for the opportunity. So this is going to be a great collaboration. So very, very excited about that. All right. So without any further ado, now we're going to get started. This will probably run about 15-30 minutes, depending on how many questions we have. I have a little bit of an outline for you as to the process of how it usually goes. But again, feel free to pop in with your questions, with your comments, things of that nature, and we'll address them when we can. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions ahead of time. For those of you who don't know, you see the little logo. Oh, got a point this way. I don't know. The camera's like weird, but EduMatch Publishing is on the top right hand side of this because usually when we do videos, it's from our EduMatch Publishing account when we're doing launches. So we've published close to 100 books. So this is like a very rough sketch of what you would go through, steps you would go to publish a book. They don't necessarily look the same for everyone, but this is pretty much the process I'm familiar with. So the reason I wanted to get started with this, as y'all may know, we have a hiatus on accepting new titles. So I really wanted to get some resources out there so that people could continue to share their stories. And I wanted to share kind of my knowledge on it so that hopefully it might help someone else. So the very first thing, step one, obviously you want to write your book, right? So I would suggest writing it in Google Docs, honestly, because this is going to help with the collaborative settings that you may want to use later on down the line as we get into future steps. But people write it in whatever they're comfortable with. Some people write it in Google Docs, some people write in Microsoft Word, whatever. But my very best tip when it comes to writing your book is to just go ahead and outline it, fill in the gaps. Don't worry about editing yourself. Just get it out there. I have some good friends who have shared with me their various processes. Some people like to block off time on their calendar to write. Some people like to wake up very early in the morning and write. Some people like to take writing retreats and go to hotels for the weekend and write. So when I was doing my dissertation, I went to Starbucks. So it's all about just getting it done. That is step number one. One thing that I've experimented with recently has been taking audio transcripts of videos and using those to, help me plan my process. And also Chat GPT, right? Our new best friend. now I wouldn't necessarily recommend having Chat GPT write your whole book for you, but I have a book that's coming out shortly, and I did use Chat GPT to ask it questions. Where do you think that I should, what do you think I should talk about? What do you think people need to know about podcasting? Blah blah blah. So step one, write your book. Okay. Once you have your book written, then you want to go through and self-edit your book. Okay. So at this point, after you've gotten everything down, then you might want to go through it read through it a few times, make sure everything makes sense. See if there's things that you need to take out. You might want to read it out loud. That's a good thing to do, even though that's going to take a long time. But still, it's worth it. Read it out loud. Use tools such as Grammarly. Grammarly is fantastic to just kind of check your grammar and things of that nature. So definitely self edit it. Okay. Now, the next point is to get feedback on your book. At this point, you might want to send it out. So, this is where I was talking about the Google Docs might be a good resource for you, because that way you can just kind of share it out with whoever you want to take a look at it. So I would highly suggest that you get people who are, kind of a cross section of your target audience, and have them give you feedback. So get people that you trust to, not necessarily just tell you what you want to hear, but also to give you some really, really specific, concrete, honest feedback. And sometimes the feedback may hurt, but that's going to help you polish it up and help it become way better. Okay. Now, this is the family part. I was talking about the family show part. So y'all heard little one make a little cameo off screen. Okay, next up. Now, this is kind of where we start delving into the more meaty part. Get an editor. Okay. I highly, highly recommend that you get a professional editor to look over your book. And some people had questions about getting a professional editor. I'm going to share with you some of my best resources for that. My best friends in this whole book publishing process has been a site called Fiverr. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Let's see here. Fiverr. Okay, so it's Fiverr. Fiverr, and pretty much what Fiverr does is that you are able to get different things done online, starting from $5 plus any taxes, service fees, things of that nature. So they start at $5. But let's say I wanted to get an editor, so book editing. I just search for this, and then here we go. I have all of my different editors that are on Fiverr. I have different check boxes that I can, okay, let me skip over all of this. But I have different things that I can do. I can look up categories. So they have different categories of book editing. There's different service options. So, you can look and see your genre by language. I would highly suggest that you pick English, or whatever language you're writing in if you're not writing in English. Okay. And then you can have your seller details. I like to go with level 2 sellers, because a lot of times level 1, those are the newer ones, but the top rated are very expensive sometimes. So I like level 2. That tends to be a sweet spot for me. But you can also see, I'll show you in a second, you can see their reviews and things of that nature. So you pick whatever language you want the seller to speak. I recommend that if you live, for example, in Canada, you might want to pick a Canadian editor when it comes to editing specifically. Or if you live in the UK, pick someone else who lives in the UK. Or if you live in the US, pick somebody else who lives in the US. The reason I say this is because there's different variations of spelling and things of that nature across countries. So, and there's different colloquial phrases. I've seen this come up in books because, like I said, we've published about 100 books, and a lot of times when folks get someone who speaks a different variety of English to edit, then there might be some things in there that don't necessarily fit, the target audience. So definitely consider this. Okay, you have your budget, your delivery time. You can show pro services first if you want. This is the top 1%. Vetted, they're vetted, but the trade-off is they're also more expensive. And you can also see people who are online. So scrolling down, you'll see here the different folks, as you put in your categories, then it'll edit. And then you'll see that some people are pro verified, what they start at, their star rating. 5 is the best. Okay. Let's see what this lady has. So you see she has a basic, standard, and premium. So they typically have these different packages here, so you can contact them and see if they're a good fit for what you have going on. So that's Fiverr in a nutshell. We'll come back to Fiverr because I use it for like everything. So, oh wait, I didn't even share the tab. Sorry. This is the tab right here. So you can see the lady has basic, standard, and premium, and there's an option to contact her. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna come back to the main screen. So get an editor, absolutely. The next thing is to lay out your book. So you want to make sure to lay it out, because when you type it on Google Docs, or when you type it on Microsoft, or when you type it on whatever tools you use, then that's not the format per se that you're going to use when you upload the book. A lot of times they want the book to be in PDF depending on where you upload it. So you'll need to convert it. You'll need to lay it out, make it look professional. There's a lot of different guidelines that you need to go by when you lay out a book. So there is a software that I use. I would recommend it if you plan to do multiple books. If you plan to do a one and done, then it's probably not worth the cost. But the one that I like to use is called Vellum, Vellum. Let me actually show y'all their stuff. Let me see if I could actually just pull it up. That might even be easier if StreamYard will allow me to share in an app. Um, but what I'll probably do is I'll probably at some point do a course on how to use Vellum, even though it's pretty straightforward for the most part. But there are some nuances, as there are with everything. I'm trying to open a book before I go ahead and share my screen, because I don't want to put everybody's business out there. So just give me a quick second. I'm opening it. I don't mind showing you my book. So, okay. So let me see if I can share my screen. All right. Chrome tab, window. Okay, cool. So this is Vellum. Okay. So when you bring it in, then you'll see that you have like different page types. Okay. And it automatically like it sets your margins for you. You just pretty much type in the things that you want to add. You're getting a sneak peek of the book right now, the podcasting book. But you have like you can put in chapters, it'll do your references for you. You have different page templates. And even better, I like this part right here. You can go into the styles and find the style that you want. So you see that there's lots of different styles. Now, the one good thing about this is that it's kind of set it and forget it. When I first started publishing books, I would use Microsoft Word to do it. And the trade off to that is that I already had Microsoft Word. Um, B, let me see. B, I could kind of customize it to however I wanted it to be. But with Vellum, the trade off is that you kind of have to stick within these templates. You can adjust a little bit within the templates. Like, for example, I picked, which one do I have? Whisper. I can I can kind of choose which one I want within the templates, but in terms of like if I want to make anything um if I want to like tweak it, then it's probably not going to happen. But it's kind of like set it and forget it. So with Vellum, I've been doing this for a little while now, so I can lay out a book in probably a simple book I can lay out in probably an hour, hour and a half. A more complicated book will probably take me a couple of days, but um, as opposed to Microsoft Word, where it was taking me like a week minimum to lay out a book. So I really do like Vellum. It is a pretty penny, but to me, it's worth it if you are planning to do multiple books. So lay it out. You can do it through there. You can do it through Microsoft Word. You can do it through Adobe InDesign. There are so many ways. But what you want to do is that you want to, if you're doing a paperback book or a hardback book, then most likely you're going to need it in PDF, the print ready PDF. Okay. If you're doing a children's book, then, it might be even more technical, children's book or graphic heavy book where you're printing in color, then there's different like color schemes that you might need to play around with. But we won't get into all that right now because this is self-publishing 101. So we're going to keep it kind of basic. But for laying things out, then I really do. I like to use Vellum because it really helps me maximize my productivity. Um, so shout out to Kate who was asking about ebooks. What do you do for ebooks? Well, for ebooks, this was actually the reason that I got Vellum because I didn't know how to do an ebook when I had my file formatted for Microsoft Word. So I was looking around, how do I do an ebook? And I found that Vellum will do it for me with just like one additional click. But prior to that, then I'll share my screen one more time. Isn't that a song? One more time. Gonna celebrate. Okay. Yeah, so you get some karaoke today, a little bonus karaoke. All right. So one thing that you can do here is ebook formatting. Okay, that's one kind of gig that you can get, and you get folks that will do ebook conversions and things like that. I had somebody on there who was, who was my go-to person until I learned that I could do it myself in Vellum. But this is, you can get people to lay out your book for you as well. We've used folks like for very complicated layouts that I knew would take me a long time or didn't I did not have the capability to lay it out in Vellum, then I might have gotten a gig on Fiverr to help me lay out the book. So that's also an option. Okay, so now getting to the finish line, there's 3 more steps plus some bonus steps, and then after that, we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay, so the next thing is to upload it to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. Now there are 50 places where you can upload your book manuscript. I'm just sharing with you my path, the path that I'm most familiar with. And then, if you find something else that works for you, then that is good. Please share it, please share it with the group, share it as a comment. But there are so many different services that you can use. But I like Amazon KDP, stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, but they do more than Kindle books. They do also paperback. They do some hardback. They're starting to do hardback. They do some short stories called Vella, I believe. I can't remember, but you can upload it. So I'm just going to kind of show you how that works. So I probably shouldn't close that window. Okay, there we go. So let me go ahead and share my screen once again. So you just sign up for an account. You go to kdp.amazon.com, sign up for an account. Okay, and then you can go here to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, and here you're able to create a new title or series. So as you see, I have mine queued up and ready to go for April. So Guide to Podcasting. So let me just kind of take you under the hood to show you how I got it ready to rock. And I do plan to create a Kindle one as well. Once you get like the paperback, or once you get one version in, then it's pretty easy to just create other versions by clicking on the plus button. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I got this rolling. So once you sign up for an account and you set up your tax information, all that, then you have access to this. Okay, so you load your paperback details, you have your language, you put in your book titles, you just fill in the prompts, right? And then you'll need like a description. So you want like a description that will show up on the page. And then you put your keywords in. Keywords are very important to help people find your book. So you want them to be associated with your book. You also have categories. So you just kind of go in, you choose the categories that your book aligns to. So a lot of times I do education and reference. I go to education and I find the ones that are most, that align most. Now, here is some free game right here for y'all. This aims and objectives category has been gold. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't know exactly what it's for, but I've found a lot of success with that whenever we put books there. So maybe that might be one that you want to consider. Okay, so then next, when you go to the next page, I'm not going to mess with anything because I have it saved, set up the way I want it. But I get my paperback content, right? So you need something called an ISBN. Don't know what it stands for, but that's okay. So you can get a free one from KDP. Now, if you plan to do a one and done and it really doesn't matter to you, then free ISBN is perfectly good. But if you do plan to do something like, turn this into something where you'll write multiple books, and maybe one day, I don't know, you might want to publish for other people or what have you. You want to get your own ISBN, and you can get that by going to a site called Bowker. Let me show you that really quickly. Bowker. Okay. So it's myidentifiers.com. Let me share it with you. So it's myidentifiers.com. And then you can go in and you can buy ISBNs. You can buy them in bulk. I like to buy them in bulk because let me show you something. When you buy ISBNs, um, then you buy one and it costs you 125. At the beginning I was buying one at a time and that killed me. So um the bestseller is 10. You get 10 at a time, and even if you're writing just like one book and you're one and done, I would still recommend going with this 10 ISBN package, because if you have, like, let's say you want to do a paperback, a hardback, an ebook, and an audiobook, you're going to need ISBNs for at least three of those, if not all four. So this will be cheaper to get this 10 pack than just get this one ISBN four times. So that's a good one. Okay. And then you can get, I usually, as a publisher, I usually get 100 ISBNs. That'll get me about maybe 30 books worth, 30 to 40 books worth. You can even be fancy and get 1,000. But look at this. I'm paying $5.75 per ISBN. Okay. These people are paying $1.50 per ISBN. So it depends on how much you're publishing. But anyway, you might want to consider getting an ISBN. You might want to consider buying your own ISBN. Okay. So you can then, publication date, I usually leave that blank. Print options, you figure out what paper you want to use. If you're doing like a PD book, I usually do black and white with white paper. And if you're doing like a graphic heavy book, I like doing the premium color interior. And then you just pick the size of your book. Um, Quite often I use 6x9 for like PD books, but like for children's books, there's lots of different options you could do. I mean, there's lots of different options you can do for either, but I like to do 6x9 for PD because that seems to be the standard. For children's books, I'm kind of preferential to 8.5x8.5 because that goes well for paperback, hardback, and then you already have it square if you're going to do an audiobook version. Not that we've used that version yet for a children's book, but the option is there, right? Bleed settings. This is a little bit more complex, but pretty much what bleed means is that if you have graphics going to the edge of your page, then you need to enable bleed, and that will have you kind of tweak the dimensions of your book just so slightly so that nothing gets cut off in production. I won't get too much into that right now because we're sticking with 101, but you're going to choose a cover finish, either matte or glossy. So glossy has like that shine on it. I'm seeing if there's a book around here. This, okay, you see this behind me, the Zumba book, how it's kind of shiny. Whereas matte is, I don't see a matte one, but matte is kind of like flat. I like to do PD books matte and children's books glossy. You might be different, but anyway, once you're done with your manuscript, you just upload it. I do it in PDF, like I said, and then your cover. You need your cover created. So let me see. Did we already get to that in a previous step? Oh, okay. I forgot to mention that you can also do a cover creation on Fiverr. So that's another thing to mention. Oh, thank you so much to Facebook user for saying great info shared. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, so you go in, and once you're done, you launch a previewer, and then it shows you what the book's going to look like um, prior to it being printed, prior to it being done. It usually takes a while the very first time you do it, but you see your cover, and then you can see your pages. Okay, everything looks good, so I approve it. If there's any issues, it'll show up right here. Now, it's not going to catch every single issue, because there are some issues that you actually need to physically get the book printed, and even then it still won't necessarily catch them all. They do a final check before it actually goes live, but you have multiple ways to see the book before it goes live. So I'm going to exit the print preview because I already approved this. I have the proof coming in tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Okay, going to the rights and the pricing. So here you can set it for where you want it to sell in the world. So you can do all territories or individual. And then when you get to the pricing, you can set the price. This price may or may not stay the same, just FYI, for my book that's coming out. I just like doing it the cost of the year, but I don't know. Play it by ear. I just kind of put that there as a placeholder. But you can do it through Amazon. And if you want it to go to other places, you can do expanded distribution. I don't do that because I use a separate distributor for that. And I'll get into that at a later time. But Ingram Spark, if you use Ingram Spark or anything like that, then leave this box unchecked because they might not accept your book on Ingram Spark. So, all right. And then I would highly recommend requesting a proof so that you see how it looks printed. Because even if it looks great on the screen, then there might still be some issues. So request a proof. They'll send it to your house. You know, you pay for shipping, pay for production, and you make sure that it's good. And then you publish your paperback book. And you have pretty much the same process where it goes with the Kindle book or the hardback book. Okay. So that is uploading to Amazon KDP. Next up, let's talk about claiming it on Author Central. So you want to go to authorcentral.amazon.com, log in. You know, you can probably, I think, link it to your existing Amazon account. And then when you go in, you can actually search for your book. I don't want to go too deep on this because I don't know what's on here, and I don't want everybody knowing all my publishing business. But you can go on here and claim your book. You can do your author page. You can go to your different books and put in like editorial reviews, things of that nature. And yeah, so Author Central is often overlooked, but it's a great tool. All right. Oh, and another thing to keep in mind really quickly, I tell this to our authors all the time. It has reports and marketing. That is only accurate if you do it strictly through Amazon KDP. If you do it through other distributors as well, then the reports might not be accurate for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to get into that now because, like I said, this is self-publishing 101. So we're going to keep it 101, but just know that. All right. Last and not least, we are going to talk briefly about marketing and launching. So once you're done, you have your book, uploaded, you have it ready to go. Ideally, you've been putting out the word about your book for a while before it actually goes live. Through social media, through your mailing list. It's really good to have like a website where you can direct people to and they know more about the book. And I really need to take my own advice on this because I have not created a website, but we do have a mailing list and stuff like that. So market your book, get the word out, and then do a launch if you want on your big day. Do a video, do some contests, do a celebration. Let people know that your book is out there and that it's available. Okay, so those are the 8 steps. In addition, level up. You can level up with some other things. Like I said, we have 2 distributors. The other one that we have is called Ingram Spark. I'll show you their website. They are a bit difficult to navigate and to get to know, but once you figure it out, then this thing can be your best friend. I highly recommend it if you have more than one book. If you're planning to do multiple books, and get your book global, Ingram Spark is the way to go. I'll probably do a course on that in the future. Also, if you want to do audiobooks, there's lots of audiobook things out there. There's one called Find a Way Voices. I heard that's on Spotify. The one that I have used the most is ACX. So if you want your book on Audible, this is where you would go. Again, not going to get into that tonight. Probably do a course on that later. Okay. You might also want to learn about some organizations. So the Independent Book Publishers Association is good. They have a lot of resources to help you publish. And the one that I would really, really, really recommend, that I'm now currently a member of, and I'm not getting any kind of kickback or anything, but I'm finding this very helpful, the Alliance of Independent Authors. They have a lot of different discounts and stuff like that. So member benefits, I think, is where it is. Once you log in, then you can see like all of the different partnerships that they have. I don't see it on here. I probably have to log in, but yep. So that is pretty much what I have for you today. So I'm going to stop sharing, come back on the big screen. Okay, it's time now for Q&A. All right, someone asked, hey, will this video be available later? Say yes. yes, this video will be available later, so you can come and check it out. And I highly encourage y'all to drop any questions. I'll try to answer as many as I can. If they're simple, through text. If they're more complex, then I might need to follow up. Like, I'm in full transparency doing this dual purpose because I do want to make a course out of it. So I want to know what your questions are. And I want to know, how I can be of service. So if you have any questions that require kind of a deeper understanding, I'll probably do a course on it. But if it's something, that I can answer very quickly, I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay. Thank you so much, Facebook user, for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. As you see at the bottom of the screen, the next time we're going to go live, it will be Tuesday, unless I'm forgetting something, but Tuesday, launch of Digital PD for Educators by Dr. Matthew Woods, Dr. Sam Fessich. So tune in. It's going to be at 7 o'clock. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have for you. Make sure that you're signed up on edumatch.org to receive our newsletter. Hopefully some of you found out about this webinar through our newsletter, but we're also going to increase the frequency of newsletters. So thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and have a wonderful evening. So thank you. And we need our theme song. Shout out to Ron Madison for the theme song. Shout out to Rachel Pearson for the graphic. All right. Bye, y'all.
It's Edge Match. Edge Match. It's Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match.
And I had to come back on because I saw another comment come through. Melissa, thank you so much. Appreciate you watching. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye.